We're recording. First things first. CPC 129, July 5th, 2020, 11:12 a.m. Eastern Time. For everyone listening, this podcast is available on Spotify. That'll be linked in the description and stickied in the top comment. It is also available on BitChute, which is an uncensored alternative to YouTube if you're not all about communism. And also DTube, which I don't know. I'm too stupid to understand DTube, but I know it's based in Switzerland and has something to do with blockchain, whatever the fuck that is. But it's there too. I'll link that there. So go check that out. And also, first and foremost, my Aunt Lana retired yesterday after working as a nurse for fucking ever. So shout out Aunt Lana. And no hyperbole, and I won't go in for privacy's sake. My Aunt Lana definitely had a hand in me not dying last August, and I'll leave it at that. So, no hyperbole. So, shout out, Aunt Lana. I love you. Brad Smith!
Brad Smith from his living room, man.
Yeah, Brad Smith. What the fuck happened to your hand, man?
Hey, great conversation starter. It's what happens when you're a workaholic. You can talk about it. I damn near lost my hand at the paper mill. Seriously. Damn near lost my fucking hand, man. But I have great reflexes, so I only broke my pinky.
All right, well, you can't just there. What happened?
All right, so a paper mill. There's a lot of rollers, there's a lot of gears, there's just a lot of moving parts. And we were lowering what's called an applicator roll into the mill because the one we replaced was really worn down. So the roll itself had to go in kind of cockeyed a little bit. The farther side had to be up in the air and my side had to be farther down. And being diagonal, when we put it in, the roll slipped and the roll crushed my pry bar and my hand behind an electric motor. The pry bar gave me just enough time to quickly take my hand out, and the roll crunched my pinky up against the electric motor. It was a 2,000-pound roll.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So is your pinky just broken?
So
was it salvageable? It wasn't like.
Oh yeah, no. Believe it or not, no surgery for a clean break. Really, really blessed and lucky. So on my other hand, I don't know what this bone is called, right? Between the first and second knuckle here, but it broke diagonally. Yeah, it broke diagonally like that way.
Through the skin?
No. It stayed together. Believe it or not, the doctor was actually impressed because the bones didn't shift or nothing. It's certainly a break, but it stayed together, and that's apparently why I don't need a screw to hold things together. Yeah, super fucking lucky, man.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus. So how long are you out of work?
Fuck, man. I went back to work the following day.
Brad Smith. An American machine. Jesus, dude.
Believe it or not, when it happened, my hand kind of went numb, and I took my hand out of my glove and I went like this. And as I went like this, my pinky slowly started to swell up and it turned purple. And that's when I reported to my supervisor, like, it could be something, it could be nothing, but my pinky feels weird. It tickles, is what I said.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you think you broke it? And one of the first things I did, because I was taught this in first aid, was to start pressing down on my tendons. And as soon as I started feeling a sharp pain, I'm like, I think something's wrong. So my work actually they have a security department that does security around the mill, and security brought me down to the emergency room, and I waited in that fucker for 5.5 hours. I went through 7 instant ice packs, and I was completely fine because the union said that I am to remain on the clock because it happened at work.
That's cool.
And I went into overtime. I was completely okay with waiting.
Yeah. Did they give you any like painkillers while you're waiting out there?
I actually got a lot of shit from the emergency room doctor because as soon as it happened, I took 3 grams of Tylenol. And
Jesus, dude.
yeah, she said you probably shouldn't take 3 grams of Tylenol.
No.
I'm like, well, and I told her, sorry, that's just how I'm raised, I mean, take a bunch of Tylenol and keep fucking working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus, dude, that'll fucking bore a hole through your liver.
Yeah.
That's not
3,000
good,
milligrams.
That's not good, Brad.
Well, hey, I don't drink, so I mean, if 3 grams of Tylenol is the worst I've done to it, I think I'm in the top percentile of people.
Well, you've probably got a healthy liver. Well, not only that, it's not just that you have a healthy liver. It's also that Tylenol with alcohol is highly, highly toxic. People die.
Oh, I bet.
People go to bed all the time hammered, take some Tylenol so that it prevents the hangover. Done.
Does that actually happen?
All the time. Roommates will find them.
Damn.
Just ashen white, just dead. Straight up fucking dead. It's not really advertised, man. Do not take Tylenol anywhere near before or after drinking booze.
Jeez.
Yeah, I never knew that until like this past year. I'm surprised I didn't die in college. I guess I just always had ibuprofen. I guess ibuprofen was cheaper, so I had that, or aspirin.
Yeah.
I think aspirin. No, I am not a medical doctor. Neither is Brad. Yeah, do that. And I also heard that you can't die if you use baby powder. Just period. Yeah, I don't want some.
Right? Yeah. No one gets cancer from baby powder, right?
No one gets cancer. Yeah, you can't take Tylenol with alcohol, but hey, feel free to drink orange juice and smoke meth. You're in the clear.
Yeah.
Speaking of meth, not to say that. Not trying to relate, just the insanity of meth. Kanye West announced that he is running for president in 2020. So there are now 3 candidates. Joe Biden, Democrat. Donald Trump, incumbent, Republican. Kanye West, independent. I think he's run. It just says.
Is Georgia. He running as an independent?
Yeah, and it just says Georgia. I didn't think he lived in. Only Kanye. But hey, Kanye for president, 2020. The gift that keeps on giving. We haven't had our July thing yet. There's been something every month. I guess this is it. Kanye West running for president. It's insane, but honestly, I think the more people that run for president, it's probably just better. Because the last 2 presidencies, we've had truly like the demonstration that anyone can be president. Black man becomes president. Donald Trump becomes president. Truly, because up until before that, I mean, it was just, there was almost like a certain like political elitism in my humble, uneducated, non-historically rich mind. But they always had to, you got to work in D.C. for 30 years. You're not even a senator. What's the biggest town you've run?
Yeah, you have to go to law school and you have to be elected as a politician.
No, fuck that. Just get up and go. If you lose, you'll lose. If you win, you'll win. And it all sort itself out. We're still here, man.
I mean, I'm not really educated, but I think the only requirements to become president is an able-bodied person that's 35 or older, right?
Born in the United States, yeah.
But I mean,
can't be a felon.
Yeah. Up until Trump, I mean, all of our presidents came out of DC.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really nice to see someone, maybe not necessarily Trump, but someone to break the mold.
Yeah. No, this isn't like an endorsement of Trump or Kanye. This is just like, it's good. It's always better when there are more people throwing their hats in the ring. In the Soviet Union, when
absolutely.
there's just one, it's just the government making cars, and you sign up for one, and you can expect it. And what was the average time? 121 months to 10 years, 1 month, versus now you can go out and you get a Ford or a Tesla or a Hyundai or whatever. I'm not saying they're all good, but dude, competition, it's never been bad. It's iPhone, Samsung,
always
Android,
driven prices
always
down and
better.
stuff.
Just get more people out there going. Fuck, The Rock should run. Eminem should run. Like, I don't give a fuck if I agree with you or not. The more people out there, man, it's always resulted in something better. Because right now it's a uniparty. Right. It's a Democratic Republican uniparty. I don't really want to get into politics, but I do just want to talk about Kanye running for president.
Yeah, no. I'll briefly put my opinion out there about this political election.
Knock yourself out.
Metaphorically, it's which shit sandwich you want to eat, and it's just slightly different flavor. One has corn, one doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean,
one has crust, one doesn't. It's really, that's it.
It's just, I am not looking forward going to the voting booth. I'll tell you that, man.
I am.
But yeah, no.
Fucking happy we're able to.
The riots we just had. Yeah, that was pretty lit.
yeah, that was pretty. Yeah, that was hype. That was weird.
Yeah. Yeah, no. As soon as they went to St. Paul, I could actually see the fires from the paper mill. It was certainly an interesting thing. We closed all the gates and we had a couple more security people come out to make sure they don't burn down the paper mill.
Yeah. You can't just rove around the country burning shit down. It doesn't matter what your cause is, no one will be behind it. You can be, hey, we are going to end cancer bills for everyone in the United States. I'm so-and-so, and I'm running a marathon every day. We're going to all pitch in money so no one in the United States ever has to pay for cancer treatment again. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Burn down that fucking Wendy's.
Right?
Okay, I'm not.
Everyone was behind the cause. Too.
Everyone was, and then
everyone was, and then let's go loot a Target. Fuck the police department. Let's just burn that shit down.
And now you ruin it. And not only that, you're pissing off people because now you are metaphorically. Okay, well, I'm ending cancer bills for everyone. I burned down the Wendy's. Someone goes, "Hey man, fuck that! Don't burn down the Wendy's." And now everyone's going, fuck that guy. He's against free cancer treatment. And now you're pissing off those people that are like, okay, well, that's just some bullshit because I'm not against free cancer treatment, but I am against because that's not owned by Wendy's. That's owned by a franchise owner. So, yeah, now you're right. Dude, he's been on here several times. Aaron Shepard, fellow medical school. Well, I didn't even drop out. I just didn't go. But he dropped out. Now he works for NASA and builds robotics. He's a fucking genius. But
that's awesome.
Aaron's black, and I remember him saying the last time we spoke, we were like, the one good thing about all of this is like for the first time, everyone agreed it was bad. Like we've had God knows how many of these kids. I mean, just go back and what's the recent memory? It's just it's the guy in New York that was killed over the pack of cigarettes. You have Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown. There's too many to count, and even the guy Ahmaud Marbury, the jogger. A couple months ago, it's up until now, not only have they been bad, but not everyone has been on board with was it justified or not. With George Floyd, okay, it has come out that he was a convicted felon. He pistol whipped a pregnant woman. That's terrible, but that does not matter in the United States. It
doesn't mean that you can't change.
It doesn't mean you can't change, but not only that, you should not be treated any differently because the cop didn't know that. If I get pulled over, how does he know that I'm just Tommy or that I'm a convicted felon? So for 99.9999999% of the population, this was a first. Everyone was like, that's bad. You can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump passed police reform and he expedited the FBI to work on it. He passed $100 billion stimulus bill to, what was it? I'm butchering it, to renew infrastructural and community rejuvenation and in black $100 billion, $1/10 of $1 trillion.
Yeah.
All great shit. And then some douchebags hijacked it and said, fuck yeah, let's break that target, go take a microwave. And now you've ruined it.
Yeah.
All right,
and it's already been announced in the Minnesota House that everyone across the board is going to be paying for all the damages through tax hikes. And
Oh yeah,
I mean,
no. You and I pay for it.
I mean, I'm not necessarily against paying for it. It sucks.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least all of our eyes are open to a certain cause. But it sucks that it had to go down the way it did. Seriously. I mean,
it often has to
yeah.
go that way, though.
Yeah.
You know, getting scared straight or something. You often have to lose a friend to Tylenol and alcohol to go, oh, okay.
Probably shouldn't take 3 grams of Tylenol.
No, you shouldn't. But he survived. If that's not a strong man, I don't know who is. Brad Smith, 2020, survived 3 grams of Tylenol and then went back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's start with legalizing machine guns, okay?
Yeah, we'll start with that. Yeah. Full auto, belt fed. That's
there we go.
Full
you want to own a tank? Here we go.
Go for it, man. Dude, I had an idea years ago. I remember I was arguing with one of my best friends. He's polar opposite ends of political spectrum, but he's been one of my best friends since like 5th grade. But I remember we were arguing. We're just kind of like half in the bag. And he was like, so what? He's like, you think you just should keep extending to everything? He's like, let's just get to the end. Do you think everyone should own a nuke? And again, this is like 4 a.m. We've been drinking all day and smoking pot. We're just fucking geeks and, Red Bulls. And it's just none of, it was all tongue in cheek. And I was like, yeah, I think everyone should have a nuke. He was like, how the fuck? And I was like, then we started toying with this idea. And we're like, what if everyone is given access to their own 100 megaton thermonuclear device? But this was in like 2012 when we were doing this.
Okay.
No one gets it until 2050. But everyone now knows that we got to produce all of them. But then you get one coming. So we would have 38 years until 2050. Now we're only at 30 years. Well, what changes would we make? Inescapable. We cannot cancel it. Once it's down, everyone gets it. It's a divine thing. No one can stop it. Just suspend logic for a minute. Well, the first thing you do is be like, okay, we should probably settle all grudges, right?
Yeah.
Not just the
absolutely.
guys who fucked each other's wives, but also between like Israel and like Palestine, like everyone. We should solve that.
Everyone's getting a nuke. We should probably make sure everyone's singing Kumbaya.
Exactly. Next step would be mental health. Well, and you can't. It's an inalienable right. You can surrender your nuke, but you can't take it away from anyone. Yeah. So, but this is the thing. You can surrender your nuke, but you can't. You can surrender it, but it cannot be taken away, and no one can have access to more than one. So if someone surrenders it, that one's just off the table. So what do you do with mentally unstable people? Well, we should probably start putting a lot of funding into mental health therapy. Probably nationalize that, make it universal. What about people that no amount of therapy will help? People that are unfortunately born like catatonic, paranoid schizophrenics, people that can't control it.
Yeah.
Get to a point of therapy where they can understand that they need to give this up. Well, how do you get someone in that state of mind to understand? You'd have to give them world-class therapy. All right, so we should probably start funding that. Well, how are we going to do this, man? Absolutely. The economy is going to grind to a stop. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter because come 2050, all right, so we should probably start putting
it's going to come to a stop real fast.
Yeah. Well, how could we? Yeah, we should probably all start posting shit on social media that spread awareness. All right, man. Well, what about people that are assholes? We should find out what made them an asshole. Maybe they're angry about, they got laid off. Well, okay, maybe we should figure that out. How do we get this guy on unemployment?
Better job. Yeah.
But it came to it. We're like, yeah. What if you just gave everyone? But you probably need longer. I'd say like 50 years. But there's a 50-year head start. Yeah. Everyone, like a social security number, everyone has their own 100 megaton thermonuclear device.
I mean, do you think it would really take a big nuclear bomb to have the world solve its world problems?
Well,
I mean, it's really too bad we couldn't just do it to better the world. It sucks that we have to use nuclear deterrence.
Sure. And that's been a commentary for 10,000 years. How come we can't be better just to be better? We haven't figured it out yet. So instead of beating a dead horse, hey, it's always good to love your neighbor. There's also nothing wrong with having a padlock. right? I can love you all day long,
sure.
and I'll always help you. I'm locking my door and
Uh-huh.
I'm loading the 12 gauge at night.
Yep.
So, yeah, it would be that. And I bet you would see, us all, because it doesn't matter if there's one person.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I think you would see world peace. End of rant. So
I think that'll be my first campaign thing.
Everyone
gets the fucking nuke.
I was about to say, Tommy Brad 2020, 2050 promise program. Everyone gets a 100 megaton nuke, and we suspend. And so the next thing would be, well, are there caveats? What about can you just get the fuck out of here? Yes, you can. So we might as well start funding space exploration.
Yeah.
You want a lunar colony?
Do you think the nuke follows you off Earth?
It does.
I like that.
It's easier to have 100 people on a different planet. It's probably easier to all 100 people get on the same page. So if that's the natural law, then okay, looks like we should start colonizing space. What about space stations? You can do that too. What about digging underground? You can do that too. I think you would see a dramatic shift in everything.
Nuclear deterrence has solved a lot of world problems. Maybe it's time.
hey, if you look at, and this is not hyperbole. If you look at a logarithmic graph of deaths caused by warfare, total and percentage from the earliest recordings, so like the Sumerians, it continues to rise on an exponential curve until 1945, and then it stops. There are still deaths every year.
Yeah.
For the first time in 10,000 years, it stopped rising, and it has been falling every year since August 9th, 1945, when we dropped the second A-bomb.
Yeah.
Nothing has worked better.
Mutually disturbed destruction could be so powerful.
Yeah, no pun intended. But nothing has worked better. You still have skirmishes, you still have proxy wars, but no one is going all out because you can't.
I really think during World War II, we really learned the value of a life and just how nasty war could be, because my grandfather, he was a Marine, and he was with people on Iwo Jima, and they were burning Japanese out of caves. It was a very, very gruesome thing. War sucks. And out of everything, he said that was a life changer for him. I mean, he's passed away now, but he said, you really do not know the value of a life when you actually have to end one in such a very gruesome way.
Yeah, day in and day out.
Yeah,
and then watch your friends be ended.
Yeah,
I mean, What would do it? Maybe
a great
Kanye,
philosophical conversation, right?
Yeah, maybe Kanye will go on that platform.
Maybe he'll legalize some hip hop or something, or maybe he'll make his music better. I don't know. I'm not necessarily a Catholic
man. I
fan.
hope debates become, and this sounds like such hacky comedy material, but I hope the debates could become like rap battles.
Right? Yeah, just spoken word.
Yeah, fuck 8 Mile. It's literally, imagine if the debates just start coming, everyone's got their hood up, they turn on the lights, and they just throw a beat, and it's like, yo. That's what it comes down to.
Who has the most talent?
Yeah.
Trump would go, I'm rich.
Yeah.
Biden would just freeze.
Yeah.
And then you have Kanye over here going all out.
Kanye would just spit fire. Yeah. Yeah, dude. I forgot what I was going to say. Fuck, my brain just froze.
Dude, that's my everyday.
That's all of our day, man.
Has it been pretty warm where you are? I think you're on the East Coast, right?
Yeah, I'm in Maryland. Yeah, it's like
okay.
85.
Because we just went through a heat wave, man. It will probably continue. in between our two out of our 4 mills, there's 1 and 2 and 4 and 5. In between 4 and 5 mill, they're Japanese built, but in between the mills, there's a walkway, and it actually hit 125 degrees, 98% humidity, and the steam coming off of the dryer rollers created steam clouds everywhere. And I was told that sometimes we will actually hit 100% humidity, and it will rain inside of the fucking mill.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's like a tropical rainforest in there. Just
Fuck that.
no trees.
Yeah, I was about to say the trees are speaking Vietnamese. Yeah. Hola. Yeah.
I wish I knew Vietnamese.
Yeah. Fortunate son intensifies. That work down.
Right? But yeah, you get that Vietnam music going on.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. Do you think anyone else is going to throw their hat in the ring for 2020? If you could have anyone throw their hat in the ring, you can have 3 people, 3 additional people. No, 2 more people, so we have 5 total. That's a good number. I say Rogan throws his hat in the ring, and
that'd be badass.
Rogan and I think The Rock.
Okay. If I'm going to put in 2 people, one's going to be my fun person. The other one's going to be my super serious political person.
Okay.
The super political person, I'm kind of torn between Ben Shapiro.
Okay.
And what's his name? No, fuck it. Ben Shapiro, just because he literally gives no fucks. It's fact based. It's I don't care about your feelings. This is what it is. Blah 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 blah. And then if I wanted to pick a fun person, have you heard of Jim Jeffries? He's this Australian comedian.
No.
Look him up. He is very profane. He's very. I don't know if he's actually a terrible person, but his style of comedy is just very shocking. And he'd be the one to say some real fucked up shit that everyone's going to laugh at. But then they're going to turn to their spouse or turn to someone else and kind of like hate themselves for laughing at shit.
Kanye West, Joe Rogan, The Rock, Ben Shapiro, Jim Jeffries. I just thought of another one. And don't differentiate which is serious and which is political. You just got to throw them all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, because otherwise we start back at the square one and saying, well, you're not serious enough to be president. You got to just open the door. What about Bill Belichick?
No, you're right.
What about Bill Belichick, coach of the Patriots? I mean, goddamn, that man knows how to figure out a system.
Yeah, I guess so, huh?
Yeah, Elon Musk.
Man, we don't deserve Elon Musk. I mean, he's honestly from a different century. I mean, he's from year 4000.
He's an alien.
Yeah.
He's an alien.
Seriously. I mean, you can already tell that he's an alien by the name that he named his daughter.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce it.
It just says pronounced Ash, but yeah, it's A-E-X-A-12. Yeah.
Like there's a few spaces somewhere, maybe a couple hyphens and backward syllables.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like those buttons
crazy.
you never press on the calculator.
Yes.
Kind of scary ones.
Yeah.
Elon.
Absolutely.
Who else? Who else could have so let's not even go with you agree with them or disagree with them. It's just
okay.
It's just who do you think could? Who do you think could garner enough? I bet one of the Kardashians could.
Yeah. How about Bill Gates? I mean, he's honestly been in between the corporate and political scenes. I mean, he's done a lot of charity work.
Bezos.
I mean, I'm
50 billion, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of people that actually have a fighting chance.
Warren Buffett.
Yeah, but even he's getting pretty old, man.
Yeah, I was about to say he's very old. Who are some smart people who have built their own? Isn't Jay-Z a billionaire? Jay-Z is
Yeah,
he's built up
yeah,
several corporations now.
yeah, yeah.
Jay-Z. Who else? J.K. Rowling can't, right? She's not
No,
American.
she was born in a different country. It's actually one of the reasons why my cousin can't run. Not that he's some political giant, but he's just in the military. But he was born in Germany because my uncle and my aunt they're both in the military and they were in Germany. And
You can't. So that doesn't he doesn't count as being born on
no,
American soil?
because he was born in Germany,
Born on base.
and I don't think so because I think they would have got some sort of I got sort of there might have been not political military ramifications for being pregnant and on tour.
Hmm. So she was in the military. Oh, okay. I thought he was
Yeah.
in the military and she was with him.
No, both
Ah.
of them were U.S. citizens. It's just they were on tour when it happened, and
Hmm.
believe it or not, they were stationed not too far away from each other. And when they found out that, of course, they met up a few times, and my cousin was conceived.
What about Zuckerberg? Who's the
I
guy that
mean,
fucking runs Twitter? Dorsey? Jack Dorsey?
well, I mean, if we're going to include the social media giants, we obviously
You
have
have
to
you
include
have to.
Tom from MySpace.
Oh yeah. Again, these aren't people
Yeah.
I necessarily agree with. I don't agree with any of them.
Um,
They're communist
Me neither.
bitches.
Yeah.
But do they have a
Hmm.
fighting chance? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Tom from MySpace. I would vote for Tom from MySpace.
If we're basing it off on
It's just fighting chance. It's not, are they fit? It's 35 American citizen fighting chance. Could they just get the vote? So there would
Alex
also,
Jones.
you're right. Alex fucking Jones. There would be some actors too, though, right? I'm not saying competent, but could
Well, no.
pull a fucking crowd? Sure.
Yeah.
But Tom Hanks
Wasn't Reagan an actor himself?
absolutely was.
Yeah.
You should listen
So
to
I
read a
mean,
biography on him. Dude was just a fucking.
yeah,
Dude was a fuckboy partier.
yeah, and he got it. I mean, so was Bill Clinton. He was a pretty big partier too.
Yeah.
Certainly proved that in office.
Yeah.
He balanced the books though.
Exactly, dude. I don't give a fuck if he got a blowjob in office. One, I think that's badass. Two, he balanced the budget. Last president to balance the budget. Fucking give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll certainly let a little hanky panky underneath the presidential desk go.
I don't give a fuck. Balance the budget, lower my taxes, keep the border strong, make strong military.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck would you do, man?
Yeah.
Now, we don't have any, in true white male fashion, we haven't named a single woman. I know, Kim Kardashian. Never mind. Hillary Clinton's still young enough. I don't like Hillary at all. She could still pull a crowd.
Yeah, no, I mean, she could go.
Hill dog.
Why? How about Candace Owens? She's a
yeah, I know
black
who she is.
female.
She could. Oh yeah, who's Charlie Kirk? He could.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who is? Oh, I just had one. Fuck. God damn it! It just slipped away. There were. Damn it. Fuck. I just had one and I cannot remember. Who's? Let's try to think of. I'm trying to think of like comeback stories or, people.
Yeah. No. Well, actually, the CEO of My Pillow, he's a Minnesotan.
Oh yeah, that guy is. Yeah.
I own all. That's all I own. I own My Pillows because they're actually really cool. So he actually got the thumbs up from Trump. Trump endorsed him.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
But the thing is I don't think he's in a place to become president because his company is so successful. I mean,
No, why would you?
yeah. I mean, he's making a hell of a lot more money selling pillows.
Yeah, and
than
you
becoming
gotta
president.
cut all that shit out once you become so.
Yeah.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker, creators of South Park, president, vice president.
Oh my god, dude, that'd be amazing.
I would vote.
Holy shit.
No bullshit. I would. Dude, they're fucking Harvard educated. I would vote for them.
Yeah.
No bullshit. I would vote.
Oh yeah.
I don't even give a fuck if my beliefs align. I would just to watch it.
Yeah. I have to mention Tucker Carlson just to kind of get the far right-wing candidates out there. I'm still trying to think of the far left because I mean you have to have a balance of both.
Jon Stewart.
Why can't Nancy Pelosi run?
She can.
I mean,
I don't know why she hasn't. She's got power.
Yeah.
With Pelosi.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
AOC is not old enough.
No, she's not. She's actually our age, I believe.
Yeah, that's
plus or minus a couple of years.
That's insane. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just have awesome political power and
yeah. Dude, I don't even like
you're
her.
You're still in your 20s?
Respect. I don't even like her, but goddamn, man.
Yeah.
You got to recognize the game.
And she stole a seat from a very powerful Democrat, too.
That's bad.
Seriously.
Some fucking power play shit. Shout out.
Yeah. I mean, her early political videos were of her standing up on bar tops, chanting and preaching to her followers in bars.
I went to her Instagram. If you go back to like her first posts, you're like, oh, this chick is literally just me. It's just early post, literally just like 5 likes, and it's just like, you know, coffee, like sunny day in September, and it's just like, you know, hashtag grateful. And you're like, oh, this is just the person. You're like, this is just the person. Like, it takes away from that. Yeah, you have to be Harvard educated, skull and bones. Who's your father? Where did you go to? Did you go to West Point? You can't have that, man.
No. And see, the one thing that I'll actually defend AOC on, and that's saying something because I just don't fucking like her, was when she first got into office, she bought herself, I think it was like a $5,000 suit. People don't understand that was literally all of her money.
Yeah.
She really had no extra cash after that, but she had to get something professional and designer-ish just to kind of fit in.
Yeah. I mean, dude, you have to fucking respect the game. If you go from a bartender to like, dude, you don't have to like her, man. That's fucking game. You don't have to like Trump, but if you get into the Oval Office, it's touche.
Yeah, no, I mean, I went from armored car to paper mill. I never made the step to Congress.
Yeah, yet. But
that'd be cool. It'd
dude,
be really cool.
Don't throw any of it out the window, man. That's the problem. Yeah. There's the idea that they're up there. They are, and I respect them for getting there. But it's not they're up there, and I can never be that. You could probably get Tom Brady.
No, you're right.
Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm from New England. I love the Patriots. I don't think he'd be a good president. I bet he could I think he has a fighting chance. Tall, handsome, rich, 9 Super Bowl appearances, married to a supermodel.
Well, I mean, he has plenty of experience doing commercials and stuff with his progressive commercials.
Yeah. Also coming through in the clutch. Imagine those commercials. I remember when I was down 28-3 in the third quarter of the Super Bowl, and I thought about giving up. And then I looked up and saw the American. Oh, yeah, dude. Fucking have him just sit 5 rings. Hey, where's the 6th? It's on my dick. You know? It's 9 appearances. Yeah, dude. I literally played for the Patriots. Like, I am a Patriot. I won the first Super Bowl after 9/11. Like, 599th pick overall. I never give up. I'll fight for the little man. You could do all that horse shit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's certainly it proves your track record. Absolutely. I mean, if you can do that, I mean, you could be a president.
What about Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah. Seriously.
he absolutely could. Michael Jordan. Man, Kobe could have.
Kobe could have.
Rest
Very
in peace.
tragic fucking way, man.
Rest in peace. Remember when Kobe was like the saddest thing about 2020?
Yeah. Yeah. And then if you look on the New York Times newspaper, just to the left of the article was about the coronavirus vaccine, and it was so
Just
close.
little thing. Just a little.
Yeah, just not even a big thing because shit that happened right around January, didn't it?
Yeah, dude, this podcast has forced me to eat slices of humble pie because you can go back to me in like January. And I was gonna
Yeah.
have this guy on that runs like a UFO channel on YouTube because I fucking love UFOs. But he didn't. And he messaged me on Reddit because I was like, yo, are we doing this thing or not? And he was like, no, man, I live in California. I'm stocking up on like N95 masks, like food and water, because I think coronavirus has just got to California. They're probably gonna start shutting down the state. And you
Yeah.
can see now that you don't think anything of that. You're like, well, of course. But you can see me literally saying on the video, I had on, I think it was episode 24, Bradley Wenzel, photographer.
Yeah.
I was like, what's up, man? He was like, how you doing? I was like, good, dude. I had some dude bail on me. He said that he thought coronavirus was coming to California and that they were going to shut down the state. And you can see him, too, go, what? And I was like, I know, right? And then it just sweeps through the nation. So, yeah, man, I got to eat.
Who knew that would have tanked our economy, man?
Exactly. So I had to eat a big old dick. Like, oh, wow, okay, I was wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to think of who else. Michael Jordan. Oprah.
Oh, and
Oprah.
Yeah, I was actually just about to say, Oprah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we're going to include Oprah, let's include Ellen.
Absolutely. It's anyone with a fighting chance. It's not that you agree with them or think they would be good.
Yeah.
U.S. citizen, 35. Can they pull a crowd? Ellen.
Absolutely.
So right now we have Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Kanye West, Joe Rogan, The Rock, Ben Shapiro, Jim Jeffries, Bill Belichick, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, Jay-Z, Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey, Tom from MySpace, Alex Jones. Why did I write down Reagan? He's dead. I guess we were talking about Reagan. Hill Dog, Hillary Clinton, Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, My Pillow Guy, Tucker Carlson, Nancy Pelosi, AOC, Tom Brady, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, Michael Jordan, Oprah, Ellen. Who else? I'm not bored of this. I'm sorry if you are, but I'm having fun.
Can we include Chuck Norris, please?
Absolutely.
And then we can also include Betty White. She will never die, man. Dude, she's older than sliced bread. I absolutely love her. Oh my God.
Chuck Norris, 29, and who'd you say? Betty White.
Betty White.
Betty White. Who's that fucking Keith Richards? He cannot die.
No, he can't. I think he's proven it too.
Exactly. Eminem. I bet people would vote for Eminem.
Oh, I know I would. I mean, he's the rap god, right?
Exactly.
I mean, he has a song about that.
Yeah. And now, like, this is a slippery slope because we could just start naming anyone of any popularity. So I'm trying to stick to, like, the best because if you start naming every football player, well, then immediately you would eventually end up just choosing the best. And who is to like it or not, who is factually the best of all time, and it's Tom Brady. So rap, I think best of all time, it's Eminem. So you can't just go off and start naming every rapper because it's eventually that would all because once you pulled the rap crowd would select the best, and it would be Eminem.
There would be huge riots over the Biggie and Tupac thing because we didn't include them, even though they're dead. I mean,
pour one out for the homies.
Yeah, absolutely. So out of the list we have so far, let's say that not including Biden and Trump, the two biggest people that would have the best chance of defeating either of those two would be Elon Musk and Bill Gates, in my opinion.
Yeah, like all seriousness,
Seriously.
Elon Musk and Bill Gates. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
You, you, you think so too?
I think I think too many people hate Bezos just because he's so rich.
Yeah.
I think that would work.
Yeah,
I think that would work against him.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Zuckerberg. It's just like you're the Facebook guy, like, you know,
Right.
it's not the same
I
love of
mean,
MySpace. It's
he's had a lot of problems with privacy. I don't think the American public would actually trust him with the key to the nuclear arsenal.
Yeah, and building that while tearing down digital privacy and demanding Trump don't build a wall, he is building a law against all zoning orders around his massive estate in Hawaii. Hey man, I respect it, man. Get money, dude. Fuck the haters.
I mean,
I won't vote for him. Fuck that guy.
There's that timeless saying of tall fences make good neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the saying.
An armed society is a polite society.
Yeah, seriously.
100 megatons for every man, woman, and child is world peace. You heard it here first. Tommy, how old are you? I'm 29. I turned 30 on August 7th. So I can't. I can run in 2028. I'll be just too young to do 2024.
I actually had problems figuring out what day it is. Besides, this is my work day and this is my day off.
Today's.
I was born in '92. No, I'm 28.
You're 20. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So could you run in? I don't think you could run in.
I think I would have to run 4 years after you.
No, 2028, you'd be fine because I'll be 38. It's just
okay.
I would be 38 in 2028, but I would be 34 in 2024. So I'm right.
You're right on the cut.
No, you would be able to run. You'd be able to run with me because you'd be 36.
Damn right.
Brad Tommy, 2020 or 2028. Fucking.
Man, just make me Secretary of Defense. I wanna do that.
Yeah,
so, that sounds fun.
You can be Secta. I don't give a fuck. Whatever you want, man.
I mean, Vice President would be pretty cool too. But
it would be. I mean,
you have the charisma.
The reality is we'd get in there and we'd see all the Illuminati fucks, dude. I would go in there.
Right.
I would go in there with like 7 drones with 360-degree cameras.
Yeah.
And I have microphones woven into my body at all times, and I would just live stream everything in 8K, 60 FPS, and I would be like, if you see me pulled into any shady room, yeah,
you are the walking NSA.
That's what I would do that, and I would do a military parade in DC, the likes of which has never been seen before, and just like in The Dark Knight when they all turn. Mm-hmm. Shoot at the commissioner and no one saw it coming because that's the only time you can have a bunch of men with rifles in the street is a parade. The parade's a wonderful cover. Have the biggest parade of all time, and then I'd go invade the Federal Reserve. I would just bulldoze it, bring everyone out, see what happens.
Yep. Yeah.
So they don't pull a JFK or an.
If I was vice president, man, I really want to weaponize the moon. That'd be fucking awesome. Do like some Starship Trooper shit where they put a big ass ring around the planet, but just the moon.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Or a Death Star. That'd be fucking awesome.
Elon Musk, what would he be head of? Department of Energy. Department of Energy.
Head of everything, because the dude has so many companies and he can fit everything into his day. It's fucking crazy.
You know, I think you actually got to keep him out of politics because I think that would hamper him.
Okay. You're right.
He would have to be like Tony Stark, like a national asset. Yeah. You got to let him be free. You got to let him be a meme lord, a fuck boy. Not that Elon Musk is a boy, but you got to let him just go be them. Yeah, you got to just go let them be themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's certain power that you can't, you know.
I think if he was a part of our party, I honestly, at that point, man, I'd kibosh NASA.
Yeah.
He would be in charge of our space program. Our space program would be SpaceX.
Yeah. Actually, I would want NASA, but NASA wouldn't produce anything. I would have NASA and everything would be bids to space companies. I want that competition.
Okay.
And that's why I don't think
Okay. Yeah, I
Elon
can
would
see
do it, is
that.
because Elon would have to. That would be conflicting interests. That's what I
What
would want.
other companies send
Like, well, I was gonna say, like,
satellites up into space?
yeah. Well, I was gonna say, like, the Army doesn't build anything.
Hmm.
The Marines, the Air Force, they don't. There's no Air Force factory. It's all Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, Boeing, General Atomics, General Dynamics,
Yeah.
GE. It's EG&G. None of the. We get all of our shit from these companies, and they
Yeah.
bid for it. It's
Hmm.
Yeah. That's what I would have. I would just turn NASA into. Well, I guess actually NASA gets all their shit from private companies too.
Would you be okay with dissolving NASA into Space Force?
Ooh. Ooh.
I mean, it might save us some money.
I mean, dude, the military that's where you want to get something done. My first act would be an unofficial Cold War with China, because the Cold War accelerated human technology
Yeah.
so much. Isn't it said that without the Cold War, right now we would be at the equivalent of 2000 technology? I
Yeah.
cannot remember where I heard that, and that's not based in anything. So I'm not going to try
Well,
to
I
argue
mean,
that.
if you're going the route of Cold War, I mean, Japan could be our next Cuba, and we could just send all of our nukes there and
Fuck
freak
yeah.
China out.
Fuck yeah. Cold War accelerates everything. As long as the nukes don't get fired, Cold War is a win for everyone. But it's a
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
risky
absolutely.
business. It's a very risky business, because if it goes
Yeah.
hot,
Yeah. It was a little tense there.
then it erases everything. So without the Cold War, we'd be at 2000 technology. With the Cold
Yeah.
War, we're at 2020. If the Cold War went hot, we'd be at year 20. So it's
Yeah. The next war would have been fought with sticks and
yeah,
rocks.
yeah. Albert Einstein. Yeah, I know. Not World War
Yeah.
III will be fought with. World War IV will be sticks and
Yeah.
stones. Or Eisenhower said to during one of the nuclear drills. He said it's like the czars he was choosing, the private business czars. Raven Rock by Garrett M. Graff, my favorite book. But Eisenhower said something. He was like, "You must understand." He's like, "This is not a war we come back from. This is not a we rally up in the red, white, and
Yeah.
blue." He goes, "We will be back to killing beasts with rocks." He's like, it's not that the economy will stutter. He's like, written language will be gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think of it this way. On pure accident and a dash of negligence, look at Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Seriously, that was just ignorance,
Yeah.
negligence, and bidding at the bottom dollar and just getting a nuclear reactor going.
Yeah.
Now, think about what we could do intentionally.
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
Yeah. That was an accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was an accident. It's you get in a
and,
car
and that land
accident.
is still fucked.
Yeah, you get in a car accident, you can see how bad they are. What happens when you do shit intentionally? When you intentionally,
Yeah.
that's how you can fly a plane into a tower. When you do it intentionally. What's the
Yeah.
difference between a fender bender and 9/11, right? It's
Seriously.
accident, yeah. Chernobyl, intentional, Hiroshima. It's
Yep. And by the way, I actually think the U.S. military went pretty easy on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, because both of those were airbursts too. I mean, they honestly could have let the bomb hit the ground and irradiate most of it.
Irradiate more. It would have done less damage with the explosion.
The
explosion did more at 1,500 feet because it's a greater bam.
Yeah.
I throw a water balloon into a crowd, it hits one person, maybe two.
Yeah.
I throw a water balloon and it bursts 10 feet above them, you get them all.
Yeah.
Oh, it could have been worse. I mean, Truman literally didn't give a direct order. He said after we dropped the first,
he almost fought it. I mean, he really didn't want to.
He didn't want to until he met with Leslie Groves, the head of the Manhattan Project, who said, "Mr. Truman, if you don't drop this, you should start working on your speech for your impeachment in 1946 when the American people find out you had a weapon that could have ended this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, sometimes you need someone to give you the hard truth and saying, you could have, but you didn't.
Yeah.
So you better work on your exit strategy.
Yeah, the overwhelming majority, I think 87% of scientists in the Manhattan Project voted for a burst off the coast to show the Japanese. And Leslie Groves actually had that canned because he didn't want that getting to high command. But what a lot of
Yeah.
people don't know is we didn't have an endless number of these. We had 3.
Yep.
Well, we tested one, Trinity, at Alamogordo, New Mexico at 5:30 a.m. on July 16th, 1945. Bam! But we had 2 more that we dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and we had 1 more that we ended up not using. So we had enough material for 4. First was the test. The next 2 were Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And they didn't even surrender after the first. They didn't even surrender immediately after the second.
No.
That's something a lot of people don't know. It was still another 5 days of them basically ghosting the State Department.
Yeah.
We were getting ready to drop a third. Now, let's say we dropped the first one off the coast and they didn't surrender, and then we drop a second and a third on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. What if they still don't surrender? It took us 3 years to get all that fissile material. We didn't have enough to do that. That was the biggest bluff ever.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah. When Truman got into office, and when Truman got, I think, leading up to the Beardlaw Project, which is what led to the hydrogen bomb, when he was briefed on the total number of nuclear weapons that the United States had, they said it was the single greatest secret this was in 1950. So secret that it was not written down. It was whispered in his ear. And the number, what they thought was 250, 13. The world thinks we have hundreds.
Yeah.
So it's all about, Brett, I gotta go piss.
Go right ahead. I'll do the same, man.
All right. Are back. The reason why I'm speaking from a distance is because I don't want to edit that part out. So I apologize for everyone that just heard silence. But editing it out somehow or fucking another massively increases the file size. So if like the file of the video is just say 5 gigabytes, and I splice out even one tiny little segment, not only does it not go down like you'd think, 4.99, if I just splice out that 10 seconds, it actually goes up. It goes up to like 5.56. Even on Zoom, when the video files are like 300 megabytes, and even that's why the audio is so much worse, but it's such a quick upload. If I go in and splice it out in iMovie, that 300 megabyte file will turn into like 4 gigabytes. So I'm not going to edit that part out. I will for the YouTube one, because the YouTube one, I always upload higher quality, but for BitChute and D2, because those companies are so tiny, you're only allotted so much memory. So I'm going to upload the Zoom version of those. So sorry for everyone about that. And he's back.
I am back. Woo. Man, I made this homemade beef jerky, and I'm just addicted.
Yeah.
Oh my god, man.
It looks fantastic.
Oh.
I love beef
jerky. I kept it in the dehydrator longer just so it be that kind of beef jerky that you have to suck on.
Yeah.
So it lasts longer.
Yeah.
Because the last batch I made, it was nice and tender, and my wife and I pounded down 50 pounds. Oh, not 50 pounds. $50 worth of freaking brisket.
I thought you were 50 pounds.
Yeah, 50 pounds. But yeah. So World War II really opened our eyes. did I tell you that the paper mills were actually built by the Japanese before World War? Well, it was in 1927 that our 4 and 5 mill were built. 1 and 2 were actually manufactured somewhere in Pittsburgh or something like that, back when they were really industrialized and stuff.
Yeah.
Way back. Which is actually kind of interesting because 1 and 2 mill, some of the parts are still original and they're still going. And I was told, I haven't come across some of the maker marks yet, but some of them parts have been running since 1867.
Jesus Christ.
Right?
You know, there's actually a word for that. Machinery, or like strong, like a wrench. You'll see like, you know, this was my great grandfather's wrench. You know, something like that. There's actually a word for it. It's called skookum. Skookum. There's a subreddit.
Really?
Yeah, I never knew what it was. But you go in, and I was like, I like to not read about subreddits. I like to just try to figure it out because I'm a moron, and that's how I get my little dopamine reward. Hey, this one's about cars. But skookum
Let's research.
Skookum is it's about or this is this was that you always see shit be like, this wrench has been in my family since World War I, or like old water pipes, old toilets. It's always shit that like it can't be like electronics. It's always it's like a metal press. Something like that.
We still have drill presses from World War I that have a placard on the side saying something on the lines of, during wartime, the U.S. government can come and use this machinery.
They get priority. They get full priority. Wartime Powers Act.
Some of that stuff is on some of our lathes, and we have this really, really, really old table saw. Well, actually, I think it's a rip saw. It has that placard on the side, and this thing is clearly not OSHA. Well, OSHA kind of turns a blind eye to it, because when you grab the saw blade and you pull it forward, the blade actually spins towards you. I call it the demon saw because there's barely a guard on it. I mean, the thing is just dangerous. And if you saw through a nail, it will actually kick towards you, and you kind of have to control that. But see, the thing is, though, it is the most reliable. It is the best cutting. It just works, and it's been working. Yeah,
it is. That's what it means.
Yeah. We also have a bandsaw. Probably came out of World War II, but if you're familiar with bandsaws, there's just these 2 big wheels with some guards and the blade that runs around them. So when the wheels turn, there's just this platform that you cut on. But unlike modern machinery, you could easily just open up these guards while in operation. The thing doesn't turn off. There's no secondary guards. You could literally just open up the bottom and just tear yourself a new hole in your body somewhere. But that bandsaw is the one I prefer to use because the fucker just works.
Yeah, dude, that's the thing, is they just work, right?
Yeah. I learned something new at the paper mill, and I think I sent you a video of the gears turning the length of the paper mill. And I was actually under the impression that the teeth of each gear was steel, until a millwright actually had to repair one. And it's really cool because he had it on the floor, and there was this plate that pulled off of the gear. and the teeth of the gear was made from some sort of nylon. And I thought that was interesting. But when you're talking about something very old that just works, I mean, it makes sense to make some of those gears out of nylon because, you know, there's the gear contact. And and with steel, it would wear down really fast, and then you actually have to replace the gear itself. But some smart guy years ago said that it's more cost efficient and you can get more longevity out of a gear if you make those teeth from nylon.
That's insane.
Mind blown, man.
Jesus.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty cool. Do you still have those videos I sent you a while back?
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about them, huh?
Yeah, I do. Because it's...
Okay.
Yeah. What was that one thing? And it was like, it almost looks like a huge pit. It was
yeah.
Yeah. Explain that.
Okay. That is the hydropulper. So before you can make any paper, you have to have stock. It's called it. All it is it's just, for us, it's recycled cardboard. And what we do is we drop 3,000-pound bales of cardboard into the hydropulper. We add a bunch of fucking water, and at the bottom, there's like this 6 to 7 foot blade that spins at 800 rounds per minute, and it just chops everything up. It's eating engine blocks. It's eating concrete barriers. It has legitimately just demolished everything that it eats. But what it does is it grinds down the cardboard to a point where you can pump it out the bottom, and then it goes through a huge filtration system. We have miles and miles of piping and different kinds of filtration systems. Really wish I had video of that, but those are one of those areas where probably shouldn't be filming, just because you should probably make sure that nothing is going to hit you in the head or something.
Yeah.
OSHA wouldn't like me filming that.
Yeah.
But so the hydropulper, that specific one that I sent you, it operates at about 100 to 120 tons an hour. Yeah. And that's just one of them. Video I couldn't send you because I just didn't have the time. We have a smaller hydropulper, and that's our reserve one. So if the main one goes down, we can just quickly switch up to the secondary one, but it's smaller. We keep it on reserve for Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, one of our mills goes down for maintenance. That's actually how I got this. One of the mills went down for maintenance, and that happened. But the hydropulper is a very unforgiving machine because it will eat. What it will eat is completely dependent on what you feed it.
The guy I had on that, the tank commander I had on that used to operate M1 Abrams, the tanks, said that when he was introduced to them in like the late 80s or early 90s, when he first got into the Army, he said the guy in charge said, "This is an M1 Abrams. She is built to kill. She is indifferent as to whom she kills."
Seriously, yeah. I forgot which video I sent you or which picture I sent you, but when we are feeding bales of cardboard into it, there's like 5 or 6 like 20 gauge or 16 gauge wires that are wrapped around that bale. And when we put it onto a conveyor belt, those wires are popped by something that sticks off the floor. And when those bales go into it, those wires don't actually go through the filtration system. There is this metal cable that we drop into the hydropulper that sits just above the rotor. And while the rotor is spinning, it spins the wires up and onto that cable, and it's called the tail. The tail is slowly pulled out, and the wires just keep wrapping itself around it. And once it gets to the end of the tail, we pull it out, we cut it, we put a new cable down there. I think that's how it works. It's been a while, but I think that's the gist of it. The hydropulper is, man, I honestly think it's about like 20 feet wide by, from top to bottom, I think it's about 40 feet deep.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, it is the largest blender I could ever have imagined. I mean, the thing is like 3 stories tall, but it's in the ground.
Jesus, man.
Yeah. The drive. So there's the motor and then there's the drive. The drive that sits up underneath the rotor is the thing that costs $2 million. We actually just had to replace them. But see, the cool thing is they last 2 to 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still a lot of money if you break it down year by year. But once you think about what that drive actually eats, I mean, it makes sense. Yeah.
What do you have to do to, how often does the blade have to be, or the teeth on the blade?
Yeah. We change them anytime the hydropulper actually needs maintenance. So if someone's down there welding or something, we change the blade. And in the rotor head itself, when we pull it out, no one can be down in there just in case it falls back down. I mean, it's a multiple ton piece of steel. It's one chunk of steel. And when we pull the old one out, you can clearly see fist-sized gouges out of the rotor because it hit something really hard. I mean, the thing doesn't stop, and the thing runs 24/7. I mean, it's one of the most redundant, proven pieces of machinery I've honestly ever seen. I've never heard of, we are not running because the hydropulper it is not working. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
And it's almost kind of like porn, man. Like you just see something that works. Sometimes it can be very crude, but there's just some sort of like engineering beauty to it.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yes. Just satisfying.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was a subreddit. It's like welding porn, where there's just these perfect welds.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. Yes.
You know,
I've actually got someone to come on my podcast just because I remember I was a subscriber there. I don't know shit about welding, dude. I can't even change a tire. But I remember seeing that and I was just like, you don't need to. There's like a certain human like, what is that? It's just
it's a satisfaction, gratification.
Yeah, because you don't get it from like glue with plastic, but knowing that it's like, knowing that you just took like, just like the heat of the sun and just turned this metal into a single thing. There is some, there's always like, I went to Alaska with my girlfriend at the time back in 2014. I went with her family, and I remember like we went on a cruise. It was badass as fuck. But my off's favorite part of the vacation was a 7-hour train ride from the airport to like the dock or the pier, wherever the fuck, harbor. You can tell I'm really intelligent. But it was this big ass fucking train, and we were on like the 2nd story, open canopy, and it's just through the backwoods of Alaska.
That's awesome.
There was no. I remember me and our dad just got fucking hammered, and we were just, there's just trees, and dude, there is nothing. You think you've been to like, you know, remote places in the United States. It is, there is nothing. But the railroad was like 150 years old. The point of me saying this is, there was something so satisfying that we were going over these old bridges and shit. And just to know that it's Skookum, these things were just so strong. and like before cars existed. So you're like, man, these were pulled out here with fucking horses. And just,
Yeah.
I imagine just big dudes in suspenders with handlebar mustaches, just eating.
Yeah.
They said their snack was they carried balls of butter dipped in sugar because it was just pure calories. And these guys were yoked. And like, but you just think about it and you're like, they had to just get rid of the trees. We saw the trees down. You're like, this place isn't level.
By hand.
Yeah, exactly. You're
chainsaws weren't a thing.
And it's not like, oh, we're right outside of town, so no, you're in the middle of nowhere. And that was what was like, skyscrapers are cool, sure, but they're in, even an Empire State Building, 1931, like, yeah, but at the same time, like, it's still in civilization, right? Like, planes were a thing by then. So this, sure, limestone, I get it, but going out and you see these railroads in the middle of the woods, thousands of miles from anywhere. Dude, there was something, I remember me and her dad were just like, because you could kind of like look out, because obviously you can't see the track when you're going over it, but you could go stand on the very back of the train and just literally look off the 5 feet from you.
Awesome.
And just looking at the railroad ties and just the simplest shit. Not sound like a boomer. No, we weren't on our iPhones and our Facebook. But no, it wasn't even I had a smoking hot girlfriend. It wasn't even that they were serving us a 5-course meal with nice liquor. I just remember standing there, just staring at the tracks. And I was just like, who brought these out here? Who formed this? I was just like, there was just this, yeah, you're right. Like, I don't know anything about it, but I was just like, I just watched it and was like, that is cool. Just like, fuck yeah. There's just, you can sense it. This took so much to be built, right?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I mean, each individual spike was hand forged too. I mean, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of someone's blood, sweat, and tears went into forming that railroad, and you get to enjoy it 100-some years later. Isn't that crazy?
And where did that come from? Well, they had to pull this ore out of the ground.
Yeah.
And fucking ship it with like,
someone got black lung from making this.
People died just bringing it out of the ground. And then we went, and what do we do? And then we just lit a fire and we melted it. And just the lava of Mordor. And we created this bang to get this thing. Then we go out and then we set it out in the middle of fucking nowhere. And then what? A big fucking train just running on steam and hatred. Just like bulldozing through the
Iron Horse ran over it.
Exactly. This is before OSHA. This is back when slavery was the norm. Like, that's how old this shit is. And it runs on fucking coal, and it's just and it's just like that. To me, that 747 is cool, but like, goddamn, something about like this was just humans just beating nature into submission.
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely
beating nature, like the pyramids. Just beat fucking. It's literally just hurled human suffering at it.
Fighting physics, fighting everything, fighting the environment just to create something amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
built with rice suits, a bullwhip, and a megalomaniacal complex.
Yeah. There are many YouTube videos of people using old techniques on restoring trains and stuff. And just seeing the effort you have to put into just putting one rivet into the steam engines and stuff, crazy. You have to hop in there. You have to have this 150-pound hammer, and this hot piece of steel or iron comes through, and you just hammer it together, and then it cools down. Everything creaks. I mean,
dude, in Athens,
there's
Georgia,
just some beauty to it.
In Athens, Georgia,
where I
went to college, dude. I used to go to when I lived on 3930 Oconee Street, behind the Waterford Apartments. So you could go walk behind this. There's like this little fucking lush green shit, but there are these huge cement pillars rising out of like the swamp and like the ground. And the first was like 20 feet tall, and it was just rock. And then there was another one that kind of stuck out because it was like a different kind of rock. And it's because at some point they realized they needed the bridge to go higher. So after like 40 years of trains, this is literally like 1840s. They built like another one on top of it. And it's since been like the railroads, they stopped using them like pre-World War One. But these things still, they're just still, you can climb up and you can still find old railroad ties, but you go find these bridges and it's like they're covered in vines. You can like the river has literally been going for 150 years, like, but these things just still sit there, and they're just like, what went? Like you didn't just build, you didn't have a machine build that. This is just stone. How did that happen? A bunch of guys just fucking took stone and stacked it. How many died?
Yep.
Probably a lot. You could probably find some bones
force
around. Just brute force. Just probably raw slave power. Just like just beating life into submission. And it's just, you're right. There's just something. Yeah, it is. It's just like, I don't know what it is. You know, it's like
very. I don't even know the word, but it's just it honestly puts you in awe.
It's a little, it's almost like a slight, like a trance, almost like a lullaby, riding in the car, falling asleep. It's just, you just kind of stare at it, and it's like, what is this? What is this fucking? Yeah. It's like, You want to wrap this up in like 11 minutes? 11 minutes?
Sure.
Go to 12:45 my time.
I'm good with whenever you want to stop. Right. So, second piece of machinery.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe one. Let's go for 26 minutes. I have a ton of I gotta do later. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. We went on some rant. I don't even remember what we were talking about. Back to you.
Yeah. So I've described to you what the hydropulper does. So that's stage one. Stage two, after everything's been filtered, and I sent you a video on this. It goes on to it's called the table. But what it is it's the piece of machinery that shoots the filtered stock down onto, it's like a screen. There are blades up underneath it. The screen goes across it, and the blades underneath they don't cut into the screen. Their job is just to take the water off of the paper on top of the screen. And this table runs 20 to 30 miles per hour, depending on the day. The more paper we produce, the more money we make. So obviously we try to hit that 30 mile per hour mark.
Yeah.
But it's like a 40-foot long section. It goes from 90% down to I think it's like 10 to 5% water. And then from there, the real magic happens. And I think I mentioned this on the last podcast we did. Where it literally flies across. There's no machinery. There's no nothing. It jumps a 3-foot gap. And I sent you that video where it's like a 5-second video, but you can see the paper jumping the gap and then going into the dryer rollers. And I got a good up close video of those dryer rollers. And you'll see 2 ropes. One, and they're pretty much side by side. How it works is when the paper jumps the gap. Now keep in mind, it's not the full length, because I had to have some clarification. But the engineering is so fucking cool. It's very crude. But how it works is when we want to thread up, as it's called, we shoot a 3-inch length of paper into those ropes, right? And then the ropes feed that 3-inch piece of paper through the entire length of the mill. And once it hits the end of the mill, we widen it to 6 inches and then to 12 inches. And then we keep going until it's the full length of the dryer rollers. But here's the cool part. That original 3 inches that we've threaded through the entire machine gets cut out completely. Because at that point, you have this 8-foot wide piece of paper being fed through the machine by itself, and you don't need that original 3 inch piece of paper.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps feeding. I mean, the machine keeps eating and it keeps producing. It's just one of the coolest things. It's very crude. Matter of fact, we actually have people that come from Europe to do inspections of the machines. We had some guy from Germany come over, and he sat there for about 30 minutes filming this machine because he'd never seen anything like it, because it's such an old technology.
Yeah.
And that was really cool because he was more of a higher authority on producing paper. In Europe, they have much more larger, much more modern paper mills. So him kind of just standing there watching the paper go, it's sort of like looking into a fire where you're just kind of mesmerized.
Yeah.
And we also have another machine on the 1 and 2 mil side. It has become a one of its kind now. It also came from Germany. On that side, they produce cereal boxes, and it's a different kind of paper. So when the rolls come off of that machine, it gets sent to a sheeter, SHEETER. So how it works is 3 to 4 rolls sit to the left of the machine, and it's fed up into the machine, and there are these blades that chop, and it creates sheets. But this machine is so old that it has outlasted every other machine of its same type. It is literally the last machine of its kind in the world.
Jeez.
The same guy, the same German guy, he actually said it in front of the maintenance crew and I, "You guys are literally keeping a dinosaur alive right now."
Yeah. Well,
and
works.
Yeah, it works. And it was just really cool because you have this guy with some sort of title this long on his business card, speaking broken English and just this heavy German accent. And to me, that kind of means something because the Germans have always manufactured great stuff.
The Germans have always been the most insane about this.
Yeah.
Dude, they had Messerschmitt 262s in World War II. Jesus Christ, man.
Dude, they had railguns in World War I.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, the Paris gun in World War I could shoot a shell 81 miles. 81 miles. And you may be thinking,
what was the bore diameter of that fucker? I mean,
that one, I think the shells were like 1,000 pounds. Now in World War II, the one that steals the glory is the Schwerer Gustav, which had an 800 millimeter 7-ton shell that it could shoot 29 miles. And that's the one.
Jesus.
So the one in World War I shot a lot farther, but it was much smaller. Smaller is relative to this. The reality is you're shooting a 1,000-pound shell 81 miles.
Velocity is the king.
Well, when it first happened, apparently in World War I, there was just started to be explosions in Paris, and they didn't know what the fuck it was, and like 15 people were killed. Over every 15 minutes, there's just an explosion. They were looking up. They didn't see any like Zeppelins. No planes were even. I don't think this is before any of the biplanes could even drop bombs. But they're like, this doesn't make sense because the front is 75 miles away.
Yeah.
And then it finally came back through like intelligence networks that, the Germans have been shelling us from 6 miles behind the front that is 75 miles away. And the shells are just coming in at who knows how fast. So, of course, you don't see anything. So
just a shell like that with impunity.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, so what I was going to say is, so the Schwerer Gustav and its sister gun, Dora, in World War II, they existed on 2 sets of railroad tracks. It took 4,000 men to assemble. But they could shoot, I think, 14 to 18 shells a day. And, yeah, you had to walk something like 200 yards away from it and put in earplugs because otherwise it would bust your eardrums. But it could shoot a 7-ton shell 29 miles. And then it had its own custom barrel, just like you'd put a silencer on. Krupp made its own special barrel that was actually never used. It was killed in an RAF bombing raid. But they made because the Germans started looking back to World War One, and they're whatever eating their schnitzels, and they're like, in World War One we could go 81 miles. World War II we shoot something it's 14 times as heavy, but we're only going about a third the distance. That's no good. So they created a special, a thinner barrel that shot, I believe, the same size shells as the Paris gun, but this shot at 118 miles. It was never used though, because an RAF bombing raid hit it, not on purpose.
Thank God.
Well, they would have been getting shelled. They would have been shelling London from France.
Yeah.
Sorry for that little rant.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, no. It's really cool to see what we can do with our hands when we want to.
When we really kill people.
Yeah. I guess that's what we're good at as human beings.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry again.
No. I love these rants. Not rants.
No, they're rants.
Yeah, they're rants.
Sorry.
What other videos did I send you?
Trying to remember.
I think I actually covered them all, but another video I sent you. It's like a 15 to 20 second video of the aisle in between the two machines, and you'll actually see like the 20 to 40 foot spear poles that they actually have to use to clear out the dryer rollers and stuff. Now keep in mind, that's the side of the mill where it's on a good winter's day, it's 95 degrees and like 90% humidity.
Disgusting.
In summer, I mean, dude, it's 120, 135 degrees, 98% humidity. It sucks. There are days where they actually have to put on ice vests.
I was about to say, what are the protocols for overheating?
Well, overheating,
people.
We honestly just deal with the heat. We actually, our company buys us an endless supply of bomb pops. Seriously. So we just eat a bunch of those, and the production crew, man, they honestly have like 100 ice vests that they just throw on, and when the paper breaks, it leaves paper behind, and you can't actually run the machine until all that paper is cleared out, and that's why they use the spear poles. They have to have cut-resistant gloves and arm guards, cut resistance level 5, and I think it's 1 to 2 people per pole, but they jam it in there, they pull the paper out, and then they push the paper underneath the mill, because underneath the mill on the finished sides machine, there's another hydropulper that they actually put the paper into, and then it's shot back to the main hydropulper to be reground down. But the video is just, those people taking their time, being safe, making sure that they don't put their arms where they shouldn't be. Granted, the machine stopped, but that honestly hasn't stopped the machine from hurting people. When that machine is shut down, it winds down slowly, and it takes about 5 minutes for all that steel to stop. It's crazy. There's 6 to 8 sections, and they're all on air brakes and stuff. It's honestly old locomotive technology. It's one of the coolest things, because both 4 and 5, like 1 and 2, they're steam driven. and they have their own brakes, they have their own throttle, and each section has their own throttle. When they're done clearing everything, each section has their own pillar with their control lever. Any one of those production employees can stop the machine. There's only one person that can start it. And when they start it, they actually have a train horn to signal that everyone in the mill, get your hands out, the machine's going to start turning.
Yeah.
And that one person, after he throws the switch for the train horn, he goes down each section and he pushes the lever to start the fucker back up again. And just to give you a monetary value, per minute, 4 and 5 mil are down. We lose about $300 a minute. 1 and 2 mil, that's where the money is. Per minute, 1 and 2 mil are down. We lose $1,500 to $2,000.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, but I mean, just think about, I mean, if you are feeding 100 to 120 tons of paper into a machine an hour, I mean, you can pretty much do the basic math of how much money we make per hour.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
And and when it shuts down though, it's like it's like if I, was like, what if I never slept and just did a podcast nonstop? Well, if my average podcast is 2 hours, that means I could do 12 podcasts a day. Well, but I mean, no, you can't. You can't do that.
That's a lot of caffeine.
Exactly. You can't do that. So it's like, when you stop, we lose this much money per minute, but it's like it has to stop because X, Y, and Z. You can't start it up, or you're going to butcher an employee, and then you're going to lose $1 million in insurance. Like, it's
1 and 2 mil, because I want to briefly touch up on them. It's a different technology. I would have to send you some more videos because how they make paper is completely different. It's not a table. It's a 7-layer sheet process where each table to create the paper is a roller, and it's a suction roller, and it takes paper, it sucks it to the roller, and then it's peeled off, and then it goes in between 2 felts, as it's called, and then it goes to another roller, and then it just keeps adding paper, and then it goes into the dryer. But to touch up back on OSHA and stuff, you can clearly identify original parts from modern parts after OSHA was established, because everything original has this real sort of rusty patina on it. I mean, it's still integrally sound, but all of the modern pieces of machinery are spray painted or painted in bright orange or bright yellow, and they've been welded onto it. And thinking about how these machines operated in like 1900 with no guards whatsoever, it was a scary environment, man. I mean, just having motors and drives at your feet with no guards whatsoever. I mean, trip hazards, nip hazards, pinch hazards. I mean, back then, and I mean, still to this day, you could easily maim yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, even with all of the guards that we have on the machines. I mean, it's a very beautiful but very dangerous environment. It's like a volcano. I mean, it's something just lures you to it. I mean, it's really cool. It just really is. I honestly love what I do. I mean, this happened, but I mean, the fickle mistress is quite fickle. And like I said, I went back to work the following day, and I picked up a hammer and started hammering like like normal.
Yeah, it's almost like you're inside of like this giant like steampunk monster, and you're like
Yeah.
inside its organs and like the whole machine. Like
Hmm.
you're like walking around inside,
I
you know,
mean, it almost feels like it's alive. It's
like a
this
big organism.
weird feeling. You can feel the steam rushing to the parts. You can feel the oil
Yeah,
lubricating everything. I mean, you can tell if the machine is happy that day by just the vibration and noise that it's making that day.
people will say that like the old jets and stuff, like before jets, just different bombers. Pilots, you can go
Uh-huh.
back and find videos from like the fifth. They're all dead now, but like in the 50s, they talk about like their World War II bombers, and they'd be like, "Oh no, they all have like personalities and like
Yeah.
trains and yeah, certain guns." They'd be like, "Oh
Hmm.
no, she's like artillery pieces. Like, oh no, you know, she's got a bad attitude, but like she always comes through in the clutch." And it's like, haha. But then like people be like, "No, really, it's."
Seriously,
They're like,
yeah.
"Yeah, no, it's like she'll come through. Like, no, she's having a bad day today." Like, but yeah, they say that about like big, like skookum shit. But I would probably the same with
Yeah.
steel mills. I would imagine, right?
Hmm.
Huge shipping containers or
Yeah.
container ships. Yeah,
Um,
there is something in that, like big living beasts.
Number one mill is the oldest out of the mills. It's the one that has the original parts on it. And she is notorious for taking hands and ripping them off. And I'll tell you how. You remember how I described on 4 and 5 mil, they shoot out a 3-inch piece of paper and then it jumps a gap?
Hmm.
Number one mill specifically doesn't do that. It actually has to be threaded up by hand, literally. Um, it shoots out that 3-inch piece of paper, but it can't jump a gap. It's too far. Someone has to grab that paper that is traveling. It's not as fast. It's maybe 10 to 15 miles per hour. But they slow it down so someone can actually grab the paper. And when you grab the paper, you actually have to throw it into a pulley system that has those two ropes. But see, the thing is people lose hands because they don't throw it correctly. You're supposed to grab the paper and throw it and release. What people do is they throw it and try to thread it up into the pulley and the rope. And what happens is when you grab it how you're instructed to, you throw it, and then your hand gets wrapped up into the pulley and
Oh.
pulls the hand up. Yeah. But see, that's just how the machine works. Um, on that same side of the mill, 1 and 2 mil, both 1 and 2 mil are notorious for breaking legs. And how that happens is there are these elevators that have a track right next to the dryers. When the paper breaks on that, what happens is two people have to operate these elevators. One's the operator and one's the person with the pole. And you can't stand up as the person that operates the pole. But what happens is the operator of the elevator, the one that has control of the left and right, um, what will happen is they can't see the person with the pole. It's all done by radio communication. What will happen is they're pulling paper out, and the person operating the left and right will just continue to go to the left.
Hmm.
And when you're that person with the pole, you are here, the dryer roller is right here. I mean, there's hardly any gap. I mean, you literally have to back up and use the pole. But some of the guards and some of the gears will actually catch your leg. And if the operator on the elevator goes to the left or goes to the right, it'll break your leg. And I actually, after this happened to my hand, which was number one machine, not a week later, someone broke their leg, and it actually broke the big bone connecting. It broke a femur.
Jesus.
Yeah, but see, the thing is despite all of our injuries, granted very preventable, OSHA actually still loves us, because whatever OSHA says, we make the changes the next day. We're always in compliance with OSHA. We're great at workman's comp things, but the machines honestly have their own personality. It's just the weirdest thing. It's the vibration, it's the smell, it's all of the senses. You can just tell the thing's alive. I mean, completely personifying it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's really true, and it's just the weirdest, the coolest. Sometimes it's very eerie, because when either one of the mills are down, I mean, they do creak. I mean, it's specifically just from the steam and everything cooling down. But
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. Brad Smith, we're up at 2 minutes, but I got a ton of shit to do, so sorry, I'm going to cut you a minute short.
Don't we worry, man.
Thank you for doing this. I hope you're please don't take any more Tylenol in those doses. Let's definitely do another one. I texted you last night and said let's do a podcast, and you said I thought you got too famous for me. Bitch. I say that.
Yeah, I know.
I am loyal. And
you're loyal. Okay.
I'm true to my original guests, the people that came on. I remember that.
Dude, I'm seeing you grow on your channel and stuff. Like, damn, this dude got Comstock on his channel, and this dude got a fucking Abrams fucking tank commander on his podcast. Dude, you're going places. Holy
I hope, man. Not fast enough. Not fast enough. Well, whoever's listening, if you like the podcast, please share the link with people, because everyone I ask says no one sees it and recommend it. I can't get it. It's probably because it's fucking wrong think, but you gotta literally text the link to people, because otherwise it won't come up in recommended. Please, if you guys like the podcast, subscribe. And
guys, seriously, like the fuck out of it. Tommy's going places, man. Seriously.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about commenting. I don't give a shit about smash that like button.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Just subscribe, because I got to get to a point where I can get it monetized, so I keep doing it.
Yeah.
That though, I don't give a shit, man.
Are you getting closer from the last time we've done the podcast?
Yeah, you got to get to 1,000 subscribers.
Oh, okay.
I'm at 457 right now, 460.
So you're saying I need to create 500 accounts, right?
Don't do that. Don't do that, because that will get me flagged. Now, if a lot of people want to do that, I won't, say no. But you definitely can't do that one. That'll get you fucked in the butt. Well, I don't know. Technically, if I don't do it, I wouldn't test it. But please, please send it to people. Just say subscribe. Let's get this bitch going. If you guys like it, please. Let's get it going.
Absolutely.
And if you don't like it, don't subscribe. That's important. Let me win you over. Not just subscribe. Don't look at it. Just subscribe. No, fuck that. If you like it, subscribe. And if not, I'll win you over.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you.
All right. To be continued, huh?
To be continued, sir.
Kanye. All right.
Kanye 2020.
Have a good one, man.
Peace.
See ya.